select for game number 2, Rise and Camille, the first bans on the FlyQuest and Liquid sides, respectively. And there's the expected Fiora ban. Not today, Lolo. At least, not again.
Not again. Yeah, it's already happened today. Maybe if you block out your memory, I want to forget about that one. Actually, the interesting bans here for me are the mid lane bans. Cassiopeia banned out here as well as the Rise on top of it. So Syndra's still very much available as the 3 very standard OP bans have been taken away by Team Liquid. Initially jumping out for Kha'Zix here for FlyQuest though. Definitely a huge fan of this champion. It's been my main solo queue for the last few weeks just because so much damage in him. A lot of versatility for the early game as well. So we'll see how well Moon can play this champion, because definitely more presence than the Kindred he was highlighting last game.
I like these fixes off from Liquid. They're very simple, but Zyra and Rek'Sai will be their lock-ins. We mentioned that Piglet and Matt, we expect them to want to lane aggressively and try and pick up leads. They could it in the last game, but I think some of that has to do with the support match. Now Matt's going to have the aggressive side of the matchup.
Yep, definitely agree here. And he has been able to, even though it takes a lot of deaths for being squishy, puts out his damage anyway. FlyQuest once again, though, picking up front line. And actually, High going right back to that Corki he played so much yesterday. See if that, I mean, I was going to say see if he'll fare better in the mid lane, but honestly, his mid lane, he had a pretty good CS lead. The only thing that was really lacking was the rest of the map presence, right? Those classic roams that we're so used to from High. Not quite there on Syndra because he did not feel comfortable. She is vulnerable. Corki, though, has his own move hop, so maybe a bit more aggressive in those.
I think for FlyQuest have to hope so, as Poppy is the selection there for Team Liquid, as we'll now move into the second banning phase. Team Liquid will have first honors here, and they take Ashe away. So looking to try and narrow down the 80 carry pool, unless Altec is secretly trying to pick Corki, which I don't think is what's happening here. See what FlyQuest have in store, but again with Fiora banned, kind of smart to take the top lane tank here.
And again, let me just jump into second ban phase. Because Red Team gets first pick after this, you kind of force FlyQuest to ban out the Varus, and Team Liquid can actually opt for another one. So if you notice them, if they actually decide to jump that and go down one more tier, it's a possibility that they could have banned something like the Jhin or something if they wanted to push that even more, but not going to go for it here.
Not yet, at least. They banned the second AD carry in Varus. We'll see what FlyQuest have for their next ban. He'd actually banned Syndra as their first one, so High kind of respecting the fact that Syndra's pretty difficult for Corki to land against. And one more ban, maybe continuing to go after mid lane. Mid lane in general has had a very deep champion pool, and I think Golden Glue is comfortable on a lot of different champions. Yeah. So Orianna makes sense, but probably not mattered. Probably doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, it looks like they're not worried about the Ezreal Jhin there, and definitely willing to trade them. Whereas Piglet does favor the Ezreal, so grabs that one up very quickly. Ezreal, one thing I will say for that over the Jhin is definitely that you feel a lot better facing a Kha'Zix. Because not only does Ezreal, everyone always mentions the Arcane Shift, he has his own mobility, can kind of take care of himself, but also the armor, if he does opt to go for the Iceborne Gauntlet instead of Trinity Force, there is that other option where you do get more armor. We have not seen much Iceborne Gauntlet recently. It's almost all Trinity Force, but that's always an avenue that you can bring up for more survivability if that is exactly what you're looking for.
Bottom lane completed for FlyQuest. One of the dangers of picking Ezreal there is that Caitlyn is a potential counter pick. That's what Altec will take here. And Malzahar's interesting, very good support champion, but seems to suffer versus some particular champions, and I think Zyra is probably one of them.
Exactly. That's why I was a little bit surprised about this. One of the bonuses of early picking Zyra is that you dissuade people usually from picking up that Malzahar, but Lemonation, not scared about the long-range poke there from Zyra, which can take its toll. Malzahar definitely still does have a good all-in and a good combo with Caitlyn. You can put a trap towards the end of the Malzahar ultimate so that it will chain as well, and just puts a little bit more threat on that combo. That being said, though, whenever you do your Malzahar ultimate, you either need your shield or you have to worry about the Zyra ultimate delayed knockup, because that can interrupt your own and cut it short.
Well, it looks like last pick Azir is actually curious for Golden Glue. We saw that he effectively had 6 bans versus mid lane against him. Went to Echo, less effective bans this time, and goes to Azir.
And shout out to Keen. I mean, he played this counter matchup very well for himself. They actually didn't win that game, but he got to 9-0 on Azir. The Azir into Corki, and it looks like Golden Glue is going to try his hand at it here, see if he can get to that same point.
Well, Azir's certainly been kind of slowly but surely buffed again. He was in a real bad place for a while, but seems relatively playable. And this is the nice thing about the new draft system, is that some of these picks start to fall through.
And a lot of the nerfs were aimed at his early game, right? And delaying the point to where Azir really gets to those high highs that we've seen and can create those super highlight plays. But still does have a decent range advantage and definitely has similar auto attack pushing.
Going to be curious to see kind of how the mid lane goes as far as roaming again. We saw Golden Glue with the teleport echo was able to get around very easily. I think he'll probably have to take more effective landing summoner, so work that out as we get towards the mid lane. But we're out under Summoner's Rift for game number 2. TL up 1 here. We'll see if they can close it out with another sweep, or FlyQuest might pick up a surprise win and force the final game.
Yeah, and FlyQuest again with team fighting here. This time, with that Caitlyn as well to really bolster their sieging. Caitlyn and Corki quite good at the sieging, so they do have some pretty clear end game options for ending it out if they are able to get through the first stages, which is going to be a little bit difficult considering how well Reignover was able to control Moon early last time.
And I think the other difference is that, of course, with Fiora banned away, not as solid a split push option. There's no double TP. Lolo's picked up a tank here in Poppy. Yes, Poppy can get some sideline pressure going, but it's going to be much more 5v5 oriented.
Definitely so. I think the spotlight has been taken off of Lorlo mainly because of Champion Select, right? Ball's got the premier tank, and Lorlo just piloting the Poppy. Not completely shabby anymore, but Poppy definitely half a step at least below the Maokai. You can note that the Steadfast Presence will have pretty high value, though. You can interrupt not only Moon, Kha'Zix there, that's going to be trying jumping past you to get your backline, but also High, who's very aggressive with his Corki.
Ooh, Piglet. I know, stop this potential lead.
One of the most annoying things that you encounter as a jungler in solo queue. With the popularity of support Malzahar comes the popularity of stealing away one of my buffs. Level 1. But not going to be caught surprised here for Team Liquid. They actually defend Reignover's blue, and they stop those Voidlings before they're able to claim it.
Good coverage there. We'll see if the bottom lane has a little more action than it did in game number 1, but we'll follow Reignover for now. He's going to take down that Wolf Camp. Looks like early pushes on for Altac and Lemon. That's kind of expected. But Piglet's Ezreal is very good. And he should be comfortable in a matchup, even though I think he's disadvantaged in the lane.
Yep. I mean, Altac, you can see, you want to stay within your minions because your Q as well as your autos will give you that extra range where you can get harassment off, and Piglet has to work past minions. Here we go, though. That's the aggressive mid lane we're talking about from High. He's able to push out Golden Glue, make him take the long route. Loses a few CS. Moon, though, right over here.
Oh!
Who's going to get the Scuttle Crab? It's going to be the Kha'Zix. Big surprise.
Isolation Q seems pretty good there. No smites available, so Reignover has to give it up.
Yeah, plus the fact that Kha'Zix early dueling is insane. You do not ever want to take, isolated fights 1v1 as a jungler versus the Kha'Zix, unless you get a huge advantage like some Fog of War initiation and you're chunking them out beforehand, because the isolation is really what it is all about early on for him. So Scuttle Crab reward goes over to FlyQuest and Moon. Slight gold lead because they're pushing. Golden Glue, we'll see how much of this gold he can claim.
It's got a big amount of CS there, but I love that you said I was aggressive, and that's twice now. Finn back straight in. Back to be a trouble. And the Void Crab's going to go in. That looks like a first blood. He flashes out. Piglet's going to use the heal to try and protect him, and Altac got very low on the follow-up trade. Piglet, he wants it.
Yeah, Piglet actually able to get a large chunk in exchange here. You can see Matt did not panic at all in that exchange. He was able to go right into Altac, gets the exhaust down before flashing and receiving Piglet's heal. That being said, way more summoners blown on the side of Team Liquid. Bottom lane is definitely a target now, especially considering they are pushing. Zyra is a prime target, especially for, Kha'Zix, as well as if High gets to roam and put mid lane roaming pressure on bottom, you have to be very, very careful without your summoner spells. Kha'Zix right now is moving around, is going to try and use this Blast Cone to gain some distance. Even though he's into a ward, you just range straight through. I don't know about this 1v2 though.
Piglet, I think, but Piglet's got his splash. That's damage! First blood to Moon! Now Matt is going to keep moving in. The damage is there from the Voidlings, but they don't want to tower out.
Lolo though.
Surprise! Lolo's here, looks for Moon, wants to get the damage down, but Lolo is going to get it. Elimination now also low. That's a great snap from Matt. Good flash from Elimination, and Altec still firing away. Has vision, but the minions have arrived. Altec doesn't want to overcommit. He flashes in, needs another auto, but doesn't get it.
Whoo, did we say the spotlight was off of Lorlo? Because he's able to come in here with the teleport and actually salvage a kill from it, plus escape. Talked about how vulnerable that bottom lane was. Not a surprise at all that Moon goes down here. Jungler attracted to a summonerless Zyra, and he goes in, just gonna take the target that's right next to him. Piglet is far enough away from Matt that he gets isolated damage there, and then Lemonation is running up the lane, so he knows that he has confidence charging up that. But here it goes, Lorlo just charges right into him, boom, boom, AoEs the Kha'Zix, then is able to walk up as well. That auto can't, oh, so here's the thing. So many people, when you see autos complete after flashes, it's because you flashed in vision of the enemy champion who already had his auto swinging. However, if you flash into Fog of War, say a brush, like Lemonation just did, then you can cancel that auto even if the animation in the swing has already started. So Lemonation right there, very quick on his feet, able to flash into Fog of War, thus not dying to Lorlo's auto that had already started. And Lorlo only gets the assist for his troubles down bottom lane. We'll see how that does affect his matchup with balls on the top side.
It does feel like bottom lane's seeing a lot more action this time around. Not only is the 2v2 been a little more heated, but Jungler is showing quite a lot of attention down here, which wasn't the case in the first game. I mean, Piglet and Matt right now have the push and the CS advantage here, but Altec should be safe. Yeah,
and that is what stems from having tank-to-tank matchups, right? Tank-to-carry matchups attract a lot of attention. Those are blockbuster movies. Tank-to-tank, though, maybe it's the fifth Power Rangers movie coming out. Not exactly a blockbuster.
But sometimes you'll watch it.
All right, yeah, exactly. Sometimes. You got nothing else going on,
yep.
Go up there. Especially since Lorlo actually left lane, and that it did cost him a lot to go try and salvage that bottom lane. Plus, he didn't get the kill. He just got the assist, but back up there on top lane duty and holding his own.
Looking good so far. Ball's up 15 CS at the moment. Mid lane even in CS with Ty having a small lead. Altec eats some damage there. Thunderbolt's going to proc from Matt, and Piglet making sure he keeps Elimination away. Going to try and deny a couple of CS here, I think, and keep the lane in a slightly safer position more than anything else.
Yeah, Piglet sitting on his tier is landing all his skill shots. That's what matters here. Mystic shot after Mystic shot, finding its mark on Altec. And, they can't really work within the minion wave anymore, so it is full control over to the Team Liquid bottom lane down there. Able to get the minions pushing in their favor and denying more CS from Altec, who is falling behind.
With the early Sheen, Altec actually went back to get himself some boots. So Piglet and Matt seeing this, now going to push the lane in. Lemonation might try and hold some of it, but he's going to take too much damage. Voidling actually helping out. Really smart stuff from Lemon, but all right, they're going to stay and push it in.
Yeah, that was nice because so many times you'll see supports use their body to hold the minions to for their AD carry, but definitely in risk of dying if you did that, and the Voidling holds it off for a second. Regardless though, Team Liquid, they don't let him hold it, and they push it in eventually. So Altec does, in fact, end up missing quite a few more, and Piglet now is going to start grabbing the extra damage. Sheen helps so much with the extra power, and really rewards more of that accuracy for his Mystic shots landing as they do apply it.
Been very accurate so far, and is almost up 20 CS as a result, although Altec will start catching up. Now that he's made his way back down to the lane. In the meantime, Lolo eating damage here and down in CS as well due to that TP, but Lolo again should be an influence in the mid to late game, much like Maokai was when Balls was losing in game number 1. So things are looking good, mid lane's looking even. I guess we'll have to see where the junglers turn their attention next. I have to imagine it's bottom lane, but the success of that attention is going to show a lot here in how the game develops.
Yeah, and you can usually see where they're going to move next, especially Team Liquid and when Reignover is playing. They'll get that first scouting mission, basically, where he goes down and gets the first set of wards, moving in here to the red quadrant. Remember, it is an Infernal Drake, so Infernal Drake puts more pressure on the bottom side of the map, more importance on all these extra wards and setting up for that. because if you do return bottom side and get kills, immediate power spike as you transition into the coveted Infernal Drake. It's going to be a roam with high. It's got package.
Yep, it's going to collapse the tunnel. Not going to quite use it just yet. And actually ran out of time, so no room there, unfortunately, for high.
Yeah, package ran out. Plus, then used the regular Valk right after to try and get back to lane here. And no problem. Gets back to bullying Golden Blue here. Finds talk about accuracy. Some more missiles landing here for high. He is not having much trouble there, but Golden Blue is scaling up nicely.
High wants in again.
Unless he dies.
Pokes in. Now Golden Blue dodges the next missile. Turns around a little bit of damage. Rainover's here as well. High's like, all right, I fancy a go. Shoots Rainover again. Actually has no help, but he's going to buy time for Moon to take the Infernal Drake. Elimination.
Yep. I mean, Elimination's not there. Elimination is on the same team, so he's just going to add those Scuttle Crabs to help tank. That is one of the bonuses. Scuttle Crabs will tank so much of the health. And Kha'Zix with Q evolved. The cooldown almost non-existent on Q anymore, so you just spam it out and you can take that Drake really quickly. Here goes a reward for highest pressure in mid lane. Golden Blue finally forced back, and they're going to try and keep this early pressure rolling, capitalizing on that first turret gold. Even though Rainover ults back out, it's going to be risky.
That should be enough. In fact, he gets ulted Rainover. That was a mistake. Turret goes down. Rainover flashes, and High kills him.
A bit more than risky. More like suicidal there. You can see the plan, though. The other members were converging. You saw all of those heads on your mini-map converging. It's just that it's a situation where you feel like, oh, no, we're giving up so much mid lane. I don't want to, but you just don't have the champions in place. They can't cover that distance in time, so you have to give it up. And cutting your losses is one of the most difficult things for people in League of Legends, and you feel like you've got a sunk cost fallacy just all over the place, but you got to give it up. He ends up giving over the kill instead of the turret going down, but that turret, you can revisit it. It's only got, what, maybe 50 HP, something less than that even. We'll see.
Good position so far for FlyQuest. They're up 1,500 gold here. High, continue to apply that pressure, and like you mentioned, should be able to take that turret. Oh, it's a stun turret.
Yep. I was gonna say, I was fooled by the minimap. I changed halfway through. I was like, oh, hey, I didn't actually get it. Yes, they did. Right before they finished, they threw the last auto there. Sun turret there from Azir was put up. Trixie Azir. Meanwhile, though, the defensive vision line here, pink wards you can see all through the river, all the way up, or not pink anymore. Controls have been placed here for FlyQuest to try and alert them to any sort of movements from Rainover, and he has been very pesky.
Have to wonder where the next bit of action is going to go. I think High, he's aiming to apply pressure, is probably going to look to try and leave this lane and apply that roam pressure that he's known for. They did get the first Infernal as well, did FlyQuest, and the next one will be an Infernal. So the next few minutes are pretty good setup-wise. You can see Moon actually moving forward and does a ton of isolated damage to Rainover. Rek'Sai just can't compete right now 1v1.
Just reinforcing what we mentioned earlier. Never fight Kha'Zix isolated in the jungle there. 1v1.
Golden Blue actually playing all the way back here. Moon's even going in for it, he wants it! That should be a kill, great ulti from Golden Blue! Look for the outplay! Does get the trade at least.
He almost was able to get the outplay there, but Moon comes away with the kill before he goes down. 1-for-1 trade, both summoners on Azir. And people would be like, oh, I was kind of suicidal going there for that. Trading your flash for the double summoners on Azir is very big. That is a huge part of the backline for Team Liquid. Plus, so much pressure now, map pressure that is from FlyQuest as mid lane wide open. So Golden Blue, he ulted Moon back to that point and then flashed right back to the same point.
Maybe worried about High. He's going to blast code himself out of TL's jungle. I think he was just trying to see if he could get some information, but it doesn't look like he put any wards down. But you can see High feeling comfortable building in towards that Trinity Force by the looks of things. Seen a couple of Gunblades here and there, but unfortunately not this time, at least for High. He's got that phage and will be building into that Triforce ASAP. Rainover though gets himself back onto the map, slaps the Scryer's Boom, sees the blue buff, and High's going to go over and try and take it. Rainover's going to try and steal it from himself. Oh, he got it!
Come on!
That feels bad.
No, I mean, okay, so if you get hit with a Scrying Orb, you know they have vision of you. and holding onto that blue buff while High has a very long way to go to come take it. Super risky, and Rainover does end up going up and picking up that pretty free snipe right there, able to get it. Moon may get the last laugh though, as Inferno in 150 is in Team Liquid territory, since Fly in the mid lane, or yes, Fly High in the mid lane has had so much pressure. All the vision is really going FlyQuest's way on that side of the map.
Yeah, he's got the package ready as well, so High, I think, making a play. In fact, mid lane seems to be the target. Elimination, blind ulti, High, package is in, knocks him back on with the ulti, but it's not nearly enough. Now Rainover looking for it as Moon. Matt, flashes in, gets the knock up in the roots. Rainover living for now, but that's good pressure. Turret now under siege.
No summoners on that Azir. They immediately go to return and punish it. Really focused gameplay here from Fly, and that means that they are not only going to be able to get that kill, but a lot of free time here on the bottom side as Piglet and Matt actually rotated up to try and collect all the minions there from the mid lane. Let's take a look at this flash play from Lemon Nation, and this is Lemon Nation and High. High's call probably, as he was fully prepared and predicting the Azir ultimate. It's pretty easy to flash that ultimate, by the way, since he's predicting it, and Golden Glue, right as soon as he gets out of the Malzahar ultimate, is going to use it. So really nice there by High. Jumps in, predicts the ult, boom, able to secure the kill. And by the way, he knows he can flash that ult to safety outside of turret because Golden Glue doesn't have summoners of his own. Otherwise, you might have to cover both sides and consider the extra mobility that Golden Glue would have.
Yeah, Golden Glue struggling a bit in the lane. 1-2-0 is not too bad, but Azir will take a while to scale up. Like you said, a lot of the changes were to his early game. The mid and late's where he really shines. High, on the other hand, double dagger, Sork Shoes, Trinity Force. He is insanely strong as mid lane Corki, and the Drake's up right now.
And you really have to respect the package. Whenever he picks that up, you got to think, especially this guy. I mean, High is one of the premier shot callers. He's very aggressive in nature. So once he does have that extra mobility tool, you really need to play cautiously and expect him to go for it. Look at that stat there, the drop down for High's Corki, by the way. Hugely impactful in their win versus Envy.
But Team Liquid, though, aren't going to give up the Drake without a fight. High still pushing down mid lane, seeing if he can't force something. Haven't seen the top laners in a while, but they might teleport down if something will eventuate. Sun turret falls down, so FlyQuest have once again control. Rainover has to get out. Now the ultimate's very threatening even to tanks, and that should give them a window to try and start it.
Yeah, I mean, Scuttlecrab went over to Team Liquid at least, and they do have some wards inside. Maybe they go for this. Teleport is ready for Lorlo.
50-50 maybe, Rainover looking for it, Moon gonna go down, does get it, gets out as well, Golden Glue's ulti's not quite enough, Lolo, oh that's awkward, TP's in, and nothing happening, Baltor's walking down as well, so Fly with actually very clean Drake take.
Oh yeah, very clean. Isolated Q from Kha'Zix, as we went over before, helps so much with securing those objectives. Another part of why Kha'Zix is so popular, but also he was able to just barely get out before Golden Glue went in and ulted, jumps to safety. Which was imperative because his flash was not ready. So if that jump gets interrupted, he's going to lose his life. And with that, you lose the map pressure. But is able to escape and gets right back to the jungle. He did go Tiamat, by the way, which is optional on Kha'Zix now. Before, previously, people thought it was maybe mandatory because you need to clear AoE camps. But really super popular build on Kha'Zix right now. Never mind, that'll be later because balls are getting dove.
Yeah, they're answering the dive though. Fly actually hit first. They planned it all along. Lawler barely going to get away. Rek'Sai going to go down though. Turret should fall onto the turret. There we go. Just wanted to take it. Nice play from FlyQuest.
Yep, and that is going to be a turret and a kill. Extra gold, double Infernals for FlyQuest. Everything is looking like great snowball here for them. And we mentioned that this time around, they've got the Corki and the Caitlyn for Siege. And while Altec is still scaling up, and it takes Caitlyn quite a while to get to that point, Trinity Force Corki, and you mentioned all of the other spikes that High is on, especially with the lead he's got. Plenty of siege damage with that spam of missiles that will be coming out. Meanwhile, the last outer turret remaining is bottom, so during the replay, we'll probably see people head in that area. Here is the attempted dive and the secured kill plus turret right after.
Really clean stuff, and it's great to see Rainover and High kind of go head-to-head as far as, again, map planning, rotations, and strategic games going. We saw Rainover definitely get the better of pretty much all of FlyQuest in game number 1, but you can see High, when he's winning comfortably on an aggressive champion, he's just so confident in how he wants to do and how he can go about winning the game.
and really seems empowered on this court. Played it yesterday a bunch, also received a ban on it, and then finally able to get his hands on it here. We see why he banned it last time.
Blue buff though to Golden Glue. It's nice news to him. He's playing catch up, unfortunately, in the mid lane, but again, keep an eye on Azir as he gets kind of towards the 2 and 3 items. High, of course, rapid fire cannon next. So his next power spike is coming very early, and Altec is going to split the bottom lane again. Piglet's actually quite strong, but he's not going for Trinity Force based on the itemization there. Will be going more for the Ice Wand, and High, just every chance he gets, diving towards Golden Glue.
Gotta respect the extra damage and High confidence to do that because he's flanked by team members, moving up, invading the jungle, pressing down these wards. All of this FlyQuest vision, getting very deep into Team Liquid territory, and then just trying to close the loop here. Caitlyn should be able to take off the bottom turret by herself. Piglet's actually heading down there to try and defend it, it looks like.
Golden Glue looks for a play, right in elimination! That's not what he wanted.
That looked like, oh, it was a great bait and stuff, but High actually didn't need him. Did he flash over? Oh, we'll take a look at the replay to see what he flashed there, but again, elimination's there, able to get the ultimate off in time. Pretty easy loop kill there on Golden Glue.
Every time someone walks it High, he just turns on the Gatling gun, which has the funniest sounds in this particular
This skin is definitely, the first time you see it especially, you're like, whoa, which champion is that? Wait a second.
As looks like 2 times before there for FlyQuest. We'll watch the replay.
Yeah, let's take a look at this again, because, okay, so Golden Glue is going to go in. I think High flashes the ultimate, right? No, he just flashes, yeah. Unnecessary flash, like I thought. But elimination was there, and he's like, hey, chill out. A little jumpy there, High, but I got you, man. It was another predicted ultimate, by the way. That's why he flashed early. But, again, Elimination and High, these two have been playing together for so long. Since the LCS was created, even before the LCS was created, actually, for those two guys, and they still got it. Combined for another kill here, and just beating up on Golden Glue.
Definitely do. High back with the package, level 13. Working on his 3rd item, looking to make another play, probably on support Golden Glue. It was been the subject of many of High's aggressions. Makes sense, so sharing a lane. Altec those rotated in. Finish his work on the bottom side of the map, pushing that towards the end of the bottom outer. They'll take another Sun turret and look to group in for that next section. 4-0 in turrets is actually huge given how FlyQuest wants to play this game.
I actually always question Azir's on my team when they just put up turrets and the enemy is very clearly able to immediately take it because it is, you know, extra gold in their pockets. Yeah, sometimes you want to hold them off or you want to have a little bit of extra pressure, but it does mean more gold there, and FlyQuest gonna continue with this invade.
Looks like they're also setting up for another early Baron, potentially. They're certainly getting vision around the area, and they've shown a willingness to start Baron very quickly. That's been a trademark of High's play, I feel like, for his entire career. They do have an Infernal Drake to worry about as well in 40 seconds time. We'll watch that for a little while longer, because like we said, nothing else on, so you watch top lane sometimes. But as expected, not a whole lot happening.
All right, let's see if they actually, oh, look at that, they're making progress. Orlo's shield is down, he's lost a little bit of life. Here come the missile barrage there, the poke there from High though. He transitions over, actually didn't hit anybody, but Orlo takes a significant chunk this time around. And FlyQuest, looks like they might not stop this time if they've actually called Caitlyn over. JK, Dragon spawning, Infernal number 3, are you kidding me? Dream here for FlyQuest. Oh, the teleport, no, they're flanking!
They're looking for something here, but Random is taking too much damage. Lemon over the wall with the ulti to knock him down. Matt and Piglet straight in underneath to kill High. They will shut him down. Balzo gets another and out Moon looking for Reset City. There's a couple and a double for Balzo's Altec. Made his way in as well. Golden Glue just getting shredded. He's destroyed. Lolo gets Moon on the back end. Here comes the Poppy. Only gets one. That was the Malzahar, and now they'll chase him down. Balls looking to reset for the Twisted Events. Lolo, good flash over to his tower. Mess of a fight there, 4-2 in favor of FlyQuest.
Orlo, the only survivor, and even though Team Liquid were able to quote-unquote catch High, High did so much damage as he was dying. This is the guy that will always stand and fight, able to land multiple missiles as well as the Phos Bomb there, and takes out so much health from Team Liquid as he's going down that the cleanup from the rest of FlyQuest means that not only after that fight that they technically lost in terms of death, they actually are able to get 2 objectives off of it and add that triple Infernal Drake insane boost to damage. for themselves. All right, let's take another look here as they are, targeting high because he's the Fed member and they want to take that damage out early, but he chunks down Reignover, even after he gets 3 surrounding him, almost kills Piglet and allows Balls to finish him off. So 2 are dead before Altec and Lemon Nation and Moon even arrive. And then they are able to clean up most of the scraps. Lorlo here on the Think Poppy is able to live anyway. Balls there did have a twisted advance to go untargetable and not get knocked out there, though, by the ultimate. Didn't end up mattering as Lorlo escaped the flash anyway.
Looked really nice there. High is doing kind of one of the... Oh, that's all. Oh, we got it. Hold on, High. Plenty of damage there on the Corki as he's building Infinity Edge as his 3rd item. So, like a lot of the mid-Corki builds we saw back when he was last being played a lot. I will say with the Infernals, though, obviously a huge stroke of luck for Fly to get 3 Drakes and have them all be the same. But it is such a big difference having all of one thing when they have none versus them having one and you having 2. Like, 2 vs 0 is a huge difference, but 2 vs 1 is actually not that bad. 3 vs 0 is insane.
Oh my god, yes, I agree. Phase 3, we are insane now. There's 4 members that are benefiting from this as well. Only 1 member is really building tank. Everybody else is building damage, especially for Kha'Zix, man. When you're building that much flat damage, it feels so good to get even a couple. 1 Inferno, but 3 is icing on top of that. Let's see here, though, transitioning into the Baron. They've got the vision denial going on. They're actually just going to burn through this. That ward is turned off by the control ward. The Team Liquid, very risky check here.
Reignover pops the Pro Seeker in. He's going to see. Might have to tunnel in. Oh, Lemon Nation caught out of position. Wants to lock someone down, but High tries to get in there. Actually goes into the pit. They need to try and get this Baron. High a little too low. Reignover getting down as well. Actually gets the Baron, but Goldengood leaps in. That was a mistake. He gets taken down by Altec. And FlyQuest, it might not matter. They're going to try and take more down. Matt just melts to High's damage.
Reignover able to get the steal there. They also got a kill. That was huge for Team Liquid. Things were going at a disastrous pace in FlyQuest's favor, and they just barely are able to hang on here. Reignover gets the steal, plus a little bit of gold for the Lemon Nation kill, but let's see, Piglet actually has red buff. Balls, even though his Maokai takes a long time to kill, needs reinforcements to defend him.
Actually not that tanky either because he has an Icon Gauntlet as his 3rd item, but here comes Altec. There's the support, and Lolo's like, yeah, see ya. Don't want to deal with this anymore. And now High's back, so everybody's out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, this Baron buff is so huge for Team Liquid. It's really good at defending, buffs up your minions, so it's harder for the enemy to push in. Let's take a look here, though, at how it happened. Lemon Nation was trying to zone on the Malzahar, but Reignover was able to get in anyway. And man, look at all that damage. Baron, as well as Reignover, were able to combo on High, and they caught it just low enough. What an excellent smite, because he had to deal with the combo of the isolated Q from Kha'Zix again. But Reignover, clutch player, able to hold on there for a little bit for Team Liquid. We have seen a lot of comebacks, and they're setting themselves up for one.
That's kind of all the good news, unfortunately, because FlyQuest is still up 7,000 gold. And maybe most importantly, High's now finished that Infinity Edge we talked about. So you saw how much damage he was doing to everyone in the last exchange. Squishies in particular do not exist. Piglet and Matt were having enough trouble with the Syndra. This Corki's going to be even more difficult.
Even Lorlo's going to have a rough time there because on top of the gold lead, it's just multiplied by these triple Infernal Drakes, which is going to be brutal.
I mean, Lolo's looking vulnerable potentially. I wonder if High's going to use commit the package to try and take him out. Oh, Lolo gets away. Couldn't see him. But High, again, so dangerous when he has this ability to just fly over multiple walls and cover all the distance. So TL are going to try and wait that out. But FlyQuest, of course, even though Team Liquid have Baron, can still continue to apply pressure because they're just that much further ahead in the game currently.
Yeah, and to do that, they're going to have to, pressure multiple lanes. So they sent High up top, even though he's not the pure split pusher. He does have that package you mentioned. And he'll be able to take care of himself just fine as the rest of the squad pushes up mid. They're going to try and whittle Team Liquid down with the Caitlyn as well as Corki spam. You can see that was just 1 rocket. 2 rockets from High. Annihilate Piglet. That poke is insane, backed by the triple Infernos. And Lorlo, with the Baron buff, will get some gold back for Team Liquid, which they desperately need.
I really like this call from FlyQuest, though. High, he can take the top tower, but he actually dips down towards mid, just in case there's a play to be made here. They know Lolo's there. He does have teleport, and they will know that as well. Lolo, it's good that he's trying to distract them. High's going to take the simple turret here, but they moved in, I think, just to try and break open an inhib turret, which makes sense. Although Lolo now has to be dealt with.
Yep, FlyQuest going to continue to pressure mid and top at the same time. Team Liquid desperately trying to clear these minions. But high on top side, Trinity Force procs on this turret all by himself, and he's burning it down.
That's not safe. That's going to be a kill. Elimination with a flash ulti. Takes him down. Lolo still working, hasn't left just yet. But FlyQuest 5v4, they're going to try and break the base open.
Lemonation and High all over this game, constantly punishing people. Lemonation bringing that CC, and High, massive deeps, able to get inside the base now.
And pieces out from Lolo and Rainova. No sees the target. Altec still sieging with a good trap line as Rainova's eating poke also from the Malzahar. There's just a lot going on. Another turret's broken. Team Liquid commit for a fight, but Lolo gonna get melted, has to flash out.
Yeah, it's a 4v5. They don't have their AD carry. Piglet was assassinated, so they can't really fight this. They have to give up that inhibitor. And there it is. FlyQuest destroy inhibitor #1. And they've got a way into the base.
Nice Sun turret, though, this time from Golden Glue is in the top lane because it protects the inhibitor for a little while longer. FlyQuest know they can't overcommit for it, so they'll back away. There's a Cloud Drake to take if they fancy that for themselves, but they've got a lot of gold to spend, so they'll go back and do that. High's going to be a jerk, steal blue buff while he's at it, and take the Drake because this Corki at 6-1-5 has taken over the game.
Yep, this game is wide open for him. Go wherever he pleases, at least for Team Liquid's sake. Oh, the Drake actually giving High one of the closest fights that he's had this game.
Well, I'm curious to see where he goes next. I think some armor penetration's in order, but High's damage is just ridiculous. I mean, he's got good backup too. Malzahar does decent damage. Altec's got 3.5 items. We've got full damage from Moon here as well, and Balls kind of ties the room together with a very cost-efficient tank. Could be Gunblade for High, could also be Blade of the Ruin King, but I'm very excited to see Bilgewater Cutlass.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling the Gunblade. As you said, Blade of the Ruin King is an option to help out with damage over time, but the funniest thing is the jump in with a Gunblade proc, Infinity Edge Rapid Fire Sheen attack. It's just ridiculous the burst that Corki has. This is definitely a one-shot champion. That can take out any squishies that are not behind the tank line. Rainova and Lorlo are going to have to try and hold that.
And looks at the bushes on. Baron up in a minute 20, so FlyQuest have that option to trying to push bottom lane out as a result. They know mid lane pressure's coming, and High, despite not having a global teleport or any sort of way to get over there, he's confident that he can play for this inhibitor, and his team knows to play safe enough and not compromise the position they have right now, which, if it stays like this, is excellent.
Yeah, and because the inhibitor's already exposed, he didn't even have to wait for the minion line. If Team Liquid overextended and they tried to punish this split and engage on the 4 members of FlyQuest, I would just make a beeline straight for that inhibitor, annihilate it quickly with his Trinity Force, and they'd be down an objective.
Poor Lolo here. He's full tank Poppy, getting himself shot up. Piglet's going to join the party, but yeah, Lolo doesn't fancy it. He's already at 50% health, and Piglet's just going to die if he face checks High.
Yeah, would have definitely had to get that Sedibas presence up in the middle of the Valk. A little bit slow on that one, but even so, High was putting out a bit too much damage. Meanwhile, the siege continues down bottom lane, slowly but surely. As with Caitlyn traps, just move it up.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Wall's actually taking the turret. Moon trying to assassinate someone right over again with the Malzahar ulti. Altec shredding through him as Lemonation gets credit for the kill. High going to play it safe. They're going to try and break this bottom turret. It will go down. Altec needs a few more shots and that should be enough. Base is just in shambles right now. High's even going to get take top in hip as well. Now FlyQuest can join together with their 4 Drakes and maybe try and end the game from this point.
FlyQuest strikes back here to really look like they want to make a name for themselves. I mean, so much was said about the low expectations for this team. The old Cloud9 members, everyone thought, oh yeah, they're all over the hill. You know, these guys were messing around in Challenger. Didn't really look too serious, but these guys still definitely pack a punch here in the North American LCS. Especially fun to see Lemon and High combining. You know, back at it, those two still been able to complete a lot of plays here. This Azir pick just completely taken out of the entire game by them.
Yeah, and the gold advantage is almost up at 10k. When they take the Baron that they're moving towards, it will be well and truly over. 3 inhibitors down mean that Team Liquid don't really have a shot at trying to contest this objective. And even in the best case scenario where Rainova steals it and lives, I'm not sure that's enough to hold the game. That's how strong FlyQuest are at this point. There is always hope, of course, but this is an extremely difficult game to try and win from. High is just too threatening. He's finished that Gunblade. Pligo's on watch. He knows that if he gets...
Yeah, I mean, triple inhibitors down, you can't really leave your base, so you just hope that you get a miracle team fight once they come with the Baron buff. Regardless, so FlyQuest, they don't even have to force anything. They can just walk these minions in and secure game number 2 here.
Ow.
This is going to create a very interesting proposition for pick ban in game number 3. I think that Corki will definitely find himself back on that.
Oh, Piglet! That big one almost killed him.
Oh, Lolo flanking. They're
trying something. Golden Glue wants to get balls out, but there's the ulti on the Golden Glue. High, straight into the backline. There's one. Gonna look for the kill now on the Piglet. Moon collects it. No, it's High. Gets the double for himself. Matt trying to flash his way out as Lolo. Looks for it. There's the triple. There's the quadra, I think. No, the Guardian Angel's up. He's gonna look for it. High moves in for it. Does get it again. There's the quadra. Matt, where are you hiding? He's running out. High doesn't want to chase the bandit. He'll chase the game instead.
He's pinging the fountain. He's going to wait for the recall and try and get it there.
All right.
Pings are on the fountain.
Here we go. They'll set it up. The Nexus dying. No FlyQuest. No, they'll just end the game instead. No Pentiment. No problem. FlyQuest forced the final game.
Matt canceled his recall. Didn't even want to go back to the fountain because he saw that dive coming. Meanwhile, can't stop the minions. They're going to finish off the game by themselves anyways. Baron empowered. Man, what a comeback game there. Striking back very hard after that game 1 loss, and that evens our series up here, Pastry.
It does. I mean, just a statement there from FlyQuest. You know, a relatively close game 1 where Liquid just felt like they were outplaying you at every turn. FlyQuest say, fine, we'll play our game, we'll get ahead, and once we get ahead, the team seems to stay ahead. High and his Corki once again showing that when he's feeling confident, the rest of the team just straight behind him.
And Lemonation, I mean, he was most of the time right behind him, and most of the time flashing forward even to get in front of him with that Malzahar roam multiple times, just punishing Golden Glue over and over. And again, that's really where they did win the game. Lorlo had a great game 1. He actually had a good game 2, like a decently good game 2. Not a lot that he had to work with there. You know, he did teleport bottom to try and save the bottom lane when things were going bad for them and ended up getting that kill. But beyond that, he had to go back to tank duty. He was already down the Maokai in CS and just had to kind of grind it out. And there was too much going up on the rest of the map.
Too much advantage indeed. And we are going to go to game 3. So for more of that series, we're going to hand it off to our analysts.
Thank you very much, Pastry. Another 3-game series for us here on day 3 of the North American LCS FlyQuest, coming out in a fairly dominant fashion here in game 2.
Yeah, it's definitely a good look for them because it wasn't just what we're used to seeing, like, oh, a little sloppy early game, and then they have great shot calls. They actually had a good path out of Moon to get early advantages. High was actually just winning his matchup straight up, and then Balls with the kind of TP out of Lorlo early didn't just sit on his laurels. He continued to push his CS lead.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is kind of the big thing I want to talk about is that mid lane action that was happening. High seemed to have total control of the mid lane and exerting his dominance over Golden Glue, who looked almost lost in this game.
Yeah, I mean, a number of ults just went the wrong way. It didn't look like he was comfortable on the champion in lane, getting bullied out there, as well as just the actual team fighting portions that he was involved in. And when you look at the draft, you can see that FlyQuest kind of has a plan where they want to really target the mid lane matchups and get off the standard mid lane picks. We saw in the first game as well, TL took a gamble where they wanted the Syndra to come to them because they didn't think High probably played it.
Right.
He does play it. They have to counter with Echo. That didn't look good. This time, he gets his signature Corki because TL's on red side. They can't ban it out. And the Azir counter that they go for doesn't look good at all either.
Yeah, I mean, you see it right there. You got Ryze, Cassio, and LeBlanc in the first ban phase. Then you've got the Corki pickup. FlyQuest immediately follows that with Syndra Ori to try and force Golden Glue onto something uncomfortable. It works. Absolutely.
Right, I mean,
right? Didn't look terribly great on the Echo in the prior game. And this is where you kind of start to wonder, hey, Team Liquid, you've got a secondary mid player in Link. Is it about that time that you look at him and say, especially in the matchup against High, right? Matchup specific against High, would Link be more beneficial to the team?
Well, I don't want to look too forward to the next game, but I think you have to look at the draft strategy first, and is this really what you want to do? Do you not need to prioritize the Syndra pick higher or something? Because they could have taken a mid pick early in this draft before the second ban phase came around instead of letting FlyQuest target them. So I think you should look at the draft phase here because there were a couple other things too where you take the Rek'Sai early, maybe you grab the Maokai instead, so Lorlo wasn't forced on the Poppy, which, they didn't counterpick the Maokai, which I think is the concern with Lorlo. Like, oh, he's going to fight balls with a carry. just get tank versus tank. It didn't seem like they really came out ahead anywhere on the map, aside from maybe the bot lane was going a little in Piglet's favor.
Yeah, let's dive into the game itself. 23 minutes in, FlyQuest going to come out on top of this fight, but it was a close one here for Team Liquid. A good stab at it, but ultimately the power of high on the Corki here, as well as the exhaust on Piglet, going to prevail.
Right, and this is one of the criticisms of Piglet, is that he can be a little over-eager in team fights here. Good flank by Lorlo, but it's ruined a little bit by Piglet's early arcane shift in. He gets exhausted right away and popped by the Corki, who's very strong with double Infernal Drake. Really gonna blow you up pretty quick. So that happens. After that, it's just Golden Glue left alive. He goes down pretty quickly with the rest of the collapse coming in from Cloud9, or FlyQuest.
Yep.
Jeez, too many.
Well,
so close.
yeah,
it happens to everyone.
That's an understandable mistake.
It happened to me. This is my first time. It'll probably happen again. But yeah, it was a good collapse by the rest of the team. And Moon had a really good bounce back game, I think. I didn't really like the Kindred pick. It kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't. I understood what they were going for against the Echo and maybe some of the assassination attempts, but I like seeing on the more stable meta pick in the Kazakhs, and he performed really well. And he's been performing pretty much their 2 series, so I'd like to see more of this kind of standard stuff from everyone but High, potentially.
Alrighty, well, player of the game is going to High, who exerted his dominance here on Corki. Very impressive, 10, 1, and 5 KDA here. So, I mean, great out of him, but this kind of returns to our conversation about that mid lane and the matchup specifically between these two teams.
Right, so we talked about one strategy being, look at how you're doing this draft. You're back on blue side. The Corki ban can come back up. Maybe you do that again and snag a little bit early of a control mage for Golden Glue. Or you flip it the other way. You keep doing this, continue banning the Corki and as well as other control mages, and put Link in, who is someone who generally in his past has had a really deep champion pool, good pocket picks and counters and things like that. And maybe you give him kind of a later draft option and look to get a counter pick onto High and control him. And then the only thing that seems to be working well for FlyQuest left is the Moon reign over matchup.
Right, so you either keep the strategy, change the player out, or you keep the player and change the strategy around Golden Glue to get him a better matchup and maybe serve him a little better through that early game and actually put him in a position to succeed. Because when you're starting 1 and 3 and losing your turret, that early in the game, no wonder you're irrelevant.
Right, I mean, the concern is like exactly that, the laning phase, which is not something you typically think like, oh, High's gonna bully me. You're like, I hope I can bully High, so his shot calling doesn't take over the game. But here, down in CS, losing his turret early, and that's the problem. Not that you're just, High's playing well, it's that he's actually bullying you in these matchups, and I think they need to find something a little more stable for Golden Glue or get him out.
One more thing I want to talk about moving into Game 3 here is perception coming into the season. FlyQuest, a lot of people are saying this is either the 9th or 10th place team in the North American LCS, and people had higher hopes here for the Team Liquid roster, having acquired Reignover, bringing Piglet back up, and having Lorlos be a very solid performer for the team. And yet, here we are, we're going to Game 3. FlyQuest is looking to make a statement in their Week 1 and come out with 2 victories.
Well, I think this is a huge win because not only storyline, like, oh my God, these guys are better than we probably thought, but also just over the course of the season, each win is really important when you're one of the potentially middle tier teams like Team Liquid is looking a little bit right now as well, where you're fighting for playoff positioning and you're hoping to not have to play one of the top seeded teams right away, and just actually being in the playoffs is a huge part as well.
And for all the conversations we've had about other teams so far this weekend who are plagued with hesitation, and funny that I hesitated on that, but plagued with hesitation in their shot calling. High is a guy who has never been never had that problem, right? And especially when they're ahead. So that's what you saw in this game, is when they're ahead, sure, they got the Baron stolen away from them, but that didn't stop them from just making the next move on the map.
Nope, they had a ton of good dragon control. The Infernos were helping them out a lot, so even though they lost that Baron, they really didn't slow down at all. They instantly just started sieging up mid, and High was able to poke people off the top inner turret and get that one as well. And it was just a great performance out of him all around.
All right, well, this just in, Golden Glue is going to stay in for Game 3, so we'll see if they decide to flip the strategy around when it comes to champion select. We've got that deciding Game 3 between Team Liquid and FlyQuest coming up right after this. Don't touch that browser.